There was a time in my life when I thought shared calendars were the highest form of trust. I am not kidding. Syncing your schedule with someone else's felt intimate. More intimate than keys or toothbrushes, or saying I love you with the lights still on. When Madison and I moved in together, we didn't argue about furniture or wall colors or drawer space. No, our first real argument was about notification settings. She hated that I used all-day events. I thought her titles were too playful. But eventually we compromised. That is what good couples do, right? They compromise. Our life became a series of coordinated alerts and push reminders. Coffee dates, vet appointments, her Pilates classes, my quarterly meetings. Weekends were usually blocked out with things like relax or groceries and errands. Madison was obsessed with staying organized. She claimed that structure made her feel safe, like life could not collapse on her if it was color-coded. I liked that about her. Or maybe I just liked that she made me feel like I had my act together too. She worked in marketing, but not the loud kind. The sleek kind. Influencer campaigns, brand strategy, polished presentations with soft gradients. Her laptop had more tabs open than any computer should be allowed to handle. I once joked she probably had a browser window for every emotion. She didn't laugh. Probably too busy scheduling her reactions. I worked in product operations for a startup, which basically meant I made other people's chaotic ideas run on time. Madison said I was the grown-up in every meeting, and I didn't hate the compliment. I liked control, neat timelines, deliverables, deadlines. I liked knowing where I stood. So when our relationship started feeling strange, it didn't hit me like a slap. It was more like a shift in the background noise. The kind of thing you don't notice until it stops, or until it changes just enough to feel unfamiliar. It began with a calendar entry. A harmless one. Lunch, 1 p.m. That was it. No name, no location, just a time slot on a Saturday. A little out of character, maybe, but not suspicious. We often had lunch plans, sometimes together, sometimes apart. And it is not like I didn't trust her. I trusted her so much, I didn't even click into the event. I just noticed it. And then I noticed that same event popping up again the next week. And the next. Always Saturdays. Always 1 p.m. Always titled the same way. Still no details. Still no questions from me. Because what kind of man checks his girlfriend's calendar like a detective? What kind of man becomes the guy who is suspicious of brunch? I didn't want to be that guy. So instead, I started a new calendar. Privately. I called it, She Might Be Lying. It wasn't a revenge plot. It wasn't even paranoia. It was just data collection. I was logging anomalies. Outliers. Any event she didn't mention out loud, but that still existed in our shared digital life. And that lunch? It became Exhibit A. The thing about noticing something once is that your brain starts hunting for it again, even if you pretend you are not looking. Especially then. After that third mysterious lunch, I started scanning the calendar more often. Not obsessively, just a casual glance in the mornings, like checking the weather or reading the news. But my eyes always landed in the same place. Saturdays. 1 o'clock. Her sacred brunch hour. Still no added notes. No new locations. No changes. Just that same recurring block of time, sitting there like a neutral brick in the middle of an otherwise neat wall. I told myself it was nothing. People deserve space. A recurring lunch could mean anything. A mental reset. A networking routine. She was social. I was not. That was part of our balance. But balance started feeling like distance. And distance started feeling like secrecy. She began dressing a little different on those Saturdays. Not much, just enough. Jeans instead of leggings. A jacket she had not worn in months. Once she wore perfume at noon, which was wildly out of character. I remember it because she leaned in to grab her charger and the scent stayed in the room after she left. I started adding my own calendar entries. Ones that didn't sync. I called them Checkpoint 1, Checkpoint 2, Checkpoint 3. Little timestamps for myself. She never saw them. They were private events in every sense. One checkpoint was when I noticed her return later than usual. She claimed traffic. I noted there had been no accidents within 5 miles that day. Another checkpoint was when she left her phone on the table while showering. I didn't go through it. I just watched the screen light up. A name I didn't recognize. A heart emoji. Deleted in under 3 minutes. Not by me. I did not ask her who it was. Instead, I started screenshotting her calendar entries and comparing them week to week. Small shifts in wording. Tiny inconsistencies. She once rescheduled the lunch to Friday and changed it back within 2 hours. I don't know why, but that switch told me more than a text ever could. She was hiding in plain sight. But only if you were looking at the same screen long enough to notice the pixels move. I wasn't hurt yet. Not angry. Not even jealous. I was just curious. Because once you suspect someone is lying, every silence becomes suspicious. Every calendar event becomes evidence. Every ordinary moment feels rehearsed. She would sit across from me during dinner and ask me about my day. I would answer. She would smile. And all the while, I was wondering if she had already kissed someone else 3 hours earlier. And if she had, did she block it off in the calendar? Or was that event too private even for her? They say the devil is in the details. But so is the truth. The first hard clue came in the form of a receipt. Not some dramatic lipstick-stained napkin or hotel invoice hidden in a drawer. It was a folded piece of thermal paper sitting between the cushions of our couch. I only found it because I dropped the remote and my hand slipped down the side. It was dated for the previous Saturday. The time matched. 1 o'clock. The location was a restaurant across town we had never been to together. It was trendy. The kind of place that serves food on wooden boards and puts flowers in cocktails. 2 entrees. 2 drinks. No mention of me. When she came home that day, she said she had lunch with a friend. She did not say which friend. She never mentioned where. I let her tell her version, then added the name of the restaurant to my private notes. I Googled the floor plan. It had large windows. I imagined them laughing at a corner table. Her with that polite little smile she used to give me when she was still present. The next clue was olfactory. Her perfume was new. Not just stronger, different. A floral scent with something darker underneath. She had never worn it before. It was expensive, based on how little of it she used. 1 spray. Maybe 2. Like it was a gift. Or worse, a suggestion. Then came the moment that cemented it. We were watching a show one evening. Something light. She got a text. She smiled, the kind of smile you save for someone else. Then she turned the screen away without thinking. I caught the name. Just the first name. It wasn't a common one. I did a reverse search. I'm not proud of it, but it didn't take long. The guy was a trainer. Local. Ran boot camps in the park every weekend. And as it turned out, he also posted stories. One of which showed the same restaurant. Same window. Same time. She wasn't in the frame. But the second drink was there. I didn't confront her. Not even when she got up to brush her teeth and hummed that same upbeat melody she always used when she was trying to feel normal. Instead, I updated my document. I had started compiling everything. Screenshots. Photos. Notes. Dates. Names. I wasn't building a case for court. I was building one for myself. To remind me I wasn't crazy. To remind me I wasn't making this up. When you love someone and you think they love you, it becomes alarmingly easy to gaslight yourself. To explain things away. To fill in gaps with trust. To believe their version over the evidence. I stopped doing that. Her calendar kept updating. The lunch event remained. Sometimes she changed the title. Once it said quick bite. Another time it was just me time. Each time I saved it. The lie wasn't even elaborate. That was the worst part. It was lazy. Comfortable. A system she assumed no one would ever audit. She thought she was operating in the blind spot. But I was right there. Behind the screen. Reading every silent detail. I never yelled. Never raised my voice. Never slammed a door. That was never my style. Instead, I became precise. The thing about shared calendars is they are built for coordination, not confrontation. They are supposed to reduce chaos, avoid surprises. But they can also be used to speak without speaking. To leave messages that do not feel like messages until it is too late. I started with small edits. Minor ones. I added my own events that overlapped hers. Things like work call or reschedule check-in. I knew she would see them. I wanted her to wonder. I wanted her to feel that same flicker of uncertainty I had felt for weeks. Then I went deeper. To the recurring Saturday lunch, I added a note. Nothing loud. Just a sentence. Try not to wear the same perfume next time. It lingers. She never asked me about it. She just removed the note the next day. But not before I had already taken a screenshot. Another week, I added a new event under her schedule. It was subtle. Grocery run. Reminder, bring honesty. She deleted that one within hours. But the most satisfying edit came later. She had created an event called Self-Care Weekend. Vague, untrackable, safe. I changed the title to Self-Care or Someone Else. She never touched that one. It just stayed there, sitting on the calendar like a loaded question neither of us wanted to answer. She did not confront me, and I did not confront her. We were two people living in parallel timelines. Both aware, both pretending. The silence between us was so thick it had shape. Even our goodnights sounded rehearsed. She posted more on social media. Filtered photos. Inspirational captions. She liked to appear composed. I liked that she underestimated me. Behind the scenes, I was preparing. Quietly, I logged into our joint accounts. The ones we had opened when things still felt permanent. I began separating our finances. Closed subscriptions. Transferred autopays. Cleared the house of anything I had bought but she used. I backed up the calendar. Every event, every change, every deletion. I archived the photos. Screenshotted the text previews. Not for revenge. For record. I scheduled one last entry into the calendar. I placed it exactly 1 week ahead. It was clean, emotionless. Luggage pickup, 9 a.m. No comment. No emojis. Just logistics. She did not see it. Not yet. Or maybe she did and decided not to ask. Either way, the message had been delivered. She had written the script. I was just reading it out loud, line by line, in a language she understood better than love. Schedule. The night before the move, I watched her from the kitchen. She was sitting on the couch, scrolling her phone with one leg tucked under the other, like nothing had changed. Like we had not spent weeks dancing around each other in the quietest war possible. She laughed once. I do not know at what. I wondered if it was a message or a meme or someone else's voice through a screen. I no longer asked. I had already started packing days earlier. She didn't notice the missing books or the empty drawer in the hallway. She didn't ask why her favorite mug was back in its original box or why my cologne was gone from the bathroom shelf. I left small holes in the house on purpose. Not to hurt her. Just to see if she would even notice I was leaving. She didn't. That night, while she slept, I checked the calendar one last time. My final entry was still there. Luggage pickup, 9 a.m. It looked harmless. Efficient. Like something anyone would add before a short trip. I created a new one directly underneath it. She won't ask, but I'll leave the answer anyway. I knew she would see that eventually. Whether she understood it was another story. I set my alarm for 6. I showered, dressed, and zipped the last bag with the kind of calm that only comes after weeks of certainty. I brewed coffee. Quietly. I opened the shared calendar on my laptop and clicked one final edit. Event title, this is how it ends. Time now. Then I left the laptop open on the counter and walked out the door. No note. No confrontation. No explanations. Just the digital echo of what she already knew. The Uber driver said nothing as he loaded my bags into the trunk. I sat in the back and watched the building shrink in the mirror. It didn't feel dramatic. It felt scheduled, like checking out of a hotel. I had booked a furnished short-term rental across town. Nothing sentimental. Just a clean space with reliable Wi-Fi and no shared calendars. That afternoon, I received a notification. She had removed me from her digital life. No access to the shared drive. No more event invites. The calendar was hers again. That made sense. She had always liked control. I just gave it back to her. I didn't miss her. Not in the way people expect. What I missed was the structure. The illusion that life could be measured in blocks and alarms and recurring entries. That if you scheduled enough happiness, it might actually become real. But now I wake up without a calendar. I don't get reminders. I don't block out time for things like feelings or forgiveness. And still, somehow, I feel more organized. It's strange what the absence of noise can do. Without her, the apartment is quieter, but so is my mind. I don't second-guess how long a smile lasts. I don't count footsteps to the door. I don't wonder what a lunch event really means. People ask if I ever confronted her. I didn't. There was nothing to confront. The story had already written itself. I was just another event on her timeline. One that ended. Sometimes I think about sending her a new invite. Just a blank one. No title, no location, no notes. Just the time. But then I remember she never liked empty spaces. So I leave it. Unscheduled.